Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I have a video that I've been wanting to do for some time. This is actually going to be an updated Glambot selling experience video. So a while back, I want to say it was almost a year ago now, probably close to a year ago. I will link it above. I did do the same video, and basically what I did was I purged a bunch of products from my makeup collection, and I showed you guys what I was getting rid of. I packed it all up, sent it in a box to Glambot, and I showed you guys basically the whole process of what I was sending them, what they paid me, told you guys kind of how it went and all of that. So as I mentioned, it was some time ago now. Since that time, let me sum it up for you real quick. My first experience with them was not the best experience. It wasn't awful, but it wasn't the best either. I felt like the amount that they paid me was a little low, not hugely low, but a little bit, it was a little bit of a low ball, I felt like, and it took a long time to get my offer from them. And then I also felt like they weren't very good at telling you like how much they accepted for which items they accepted and what items they accepted. Because the first time I sent them stuff, I want to say there was like 40 items in there. It was a really big box full of products, a lot of eyeshadow palettes, a lot of larger, higher priced items in that first box that I sent them. So they didn't say like, oh, we took this and we didn't take that. So that was one of my grievances that I had in my first video. So if you guys want to watch that, I will link it above. The reason I wanted to do a updated video after that first time that I sold to them, I did decide to sell to them again. And honestly, you guys, the only reason I continued to sell to them, even though I wasn't like super happy with my experience, it wasn't awful either, but the reason I decided to keep selling to them is simply because I have such a large collection of makeup, and there are times where I decide to get rid of products that just don't work for me for whatever reason. I just don't like them, they don't work, whatever, I have too much of something. So I will be getting rid of products here and there, and I have tried, I give a lot to my friends and family, and I return things when I can if it's in the right time frame, and I have tried selling things on Poshmark and stuff like that, but this is just a way for me to recoup a little bit of funds from what I spend, because I spend a lot of money on makeup. I do get things sent to me from time to time, and I do get items in gratis, which I would never sell any of those items, just so you guys are aware. Those items always go to my friends and family if I don't keep them myself. So I never sell any of that stuff, but because of the amount of stuff that I have, sometimes when I am purging out products, it's nice to recoup a little bit of money. So I've done blog sales in the past. The problem with blog sales, in my opinion, is that I just don't sell very much from blog sales. There's not a huge amount of people out looking for blog sales, so it's very hard to get sales, and when you do, it's usually just a small, grouping of items, and you don't make very much money. I think my last blog sale I made like $40. And then the other thing you can do is, of course, Poshmark, which Poshmark is probably the best avenue to sell makeup, but I feel like their cut is pretty substantial, the cut that they take, and makeup doesn't sell that great on Poshmark. I feel like clothing is a lot more popular there. So yeah, for me personally, I just feel like Glambot is the easiest way to make a little bit of money from makeup that you're planning to get rid of. You don't have to wait for it to sell like you do with Poshmark. You send them the box, they give you an offer right away, and you can take your money either in Glambot credits or you can get paid out by PayPal. So that is why I've continued to sell to them, even though my first experience wasn't that great. So that being said, I've probably sold or sent, I want to say 5 or 6 boxes now total to them. So I showed you guys the first one, and I will be showing you today the most recent one that I sent, but there were several boxes in between that I sent to them of products that I sold to them. And I do have some tips on, now that I've tried it several times, I have some tips on how to get a better offer from them. There are definitely some things that you can do to make sure that the products that you send them, you're getting the most money back from them. So I definitely have some tips for that. And then also I do want to show you guys, of course, the footage once again of the products that I sent them and talk to you about what they offered me in money. I don't know why I'm doing this, but we'll talk about how much money they actually gave me for the items I sent them. So let's go ahead and jump right on into it. I do want to let you guys know, if you're not familiar at this point, I'm sure you kind of figured it out, but Glambot is a online store that buys and sells used makeup. So they're kind of like a blog sell themselves, but they buy the makeup from people like me who have too much or have things they don't want anymore. They'll buy it from you and then they turn around and sell it. So they do, of course, sell it for a much higher price than what they buy it from other people at, because they do have to make money, but they do only buy high-end brands. So you can't send them just any makeup. You can't just send them drugstore stuff. And there's a lot of high-end brands that they actually don't take right now. They take most of the mainstream ones. I feel like most of the ones carried at Sephora they carry, or they will purchase. Most of the ones at Ulta of the prestige brands, but there's still a few brands I would really like to see them expand their brands. That's one of my biggest complaints, is I feel like they are expanding. Every time I go on there, I find more new brands that they've posted on their accepted sellers list. So they are expanding and taking more items, but there's some brands that I would really like to see, not only because I want to send them product that I own from those brands, but I'd also like to see some brands that I could purchase from them. So I hope that they soon expand even more, because that would be amazing. But if you're wanting to sell to them, I definitely suggest going to their site, which is just glambot.com. I will link it down below. And then in the, I feel like it's the top right-hand corner of their site, there is a button that says sell. It will, actually it says sale and then sell. So it'll have the S-E-L-L for, you know, selling to them. If you click that link, it gives you a bunch of like, links that you can go to, and it gives you kind of a summary of how to sell to them. And one of the links is what are the accepted brands, and you can look through that and see what their accepted brands are. I highly recommend, if you are going to sell to them, as you're kind of gathering your products together, what I do is, you know, I do my purges first, and then I'll have like a box of products that I keep set aside that are products that I'm getting rid of. I have like a closet that I keep those in, and then when I'm getting ready to send a box to Glambot, I'll start sorting through that box, and I'll put piles of, this stuff is going to friends and family, this stuff I can sell to Glambot. And as I'm doing that, I'll just open up on my phone, I'll open up their accepted sellers list and kind of go through it. So if I have something I want to send to them, I'll check first to make sure it is an accepted brand if I don't already know that it is. And that way I can kind of make those piles. So I definitely recommend doing that if you're planning to sell to them. They do require that you send a minimum of 20 items. So make sure that you have at least 20 items. That's why I'll kind of save up for a while, because sometimes I'll just, you know, purge one thing and I can't just send one item to them. So I kind of save a box of stuff until I get a pretty big amount of stuff, and then kind of sort through it again, because I'll have a lot of stuff, this drugstore, things that were gratis and stuff that I can't sell. So that kind of stuff I sort out of the way and then just pull the products that I can send to them. So you do have to make sure you have 20 items. This is one of the tips I definitely wanted to share with you guys. Like I mentioned, the first time that I sent them a box, I can't remember now, I should have watched the footage back before I sat down to film this, but I feel like there was probably close to 40 items in that box. It was a very full box, and it was a large box. I had eyeshadow palettes, I had all kinds of stuff in there. I highly recommend, when you sell to them, only send them 20 items at a time, if you can kind of make that work. Now, if you send a few extra items, like I think the box I'll be sharing with you guys, I think there was 22 items in that one, but try to keep it as close to 20 as you can. Don't go too far over, because I've definitely noticed with the boxes where I sent them way over the 20, I got not much more money than I did for the boxes where I had like right around 20 items. So I feel like they kind of have a cap of what they want to offer on boxes, and I don't feel like they like to go much over $100, to be honest with you. So my first box I had probably 4 times as much value in as my second box, and I only got $20 more than I did from the second box I sent to them. So there was a huge difference in what I got paid out for like value compared to the payout from my first box to my consecutive boxes, because I feel like I learned my lesson. I was like, okay, keep it close to 20, just give them the minimum amount. I don't send more than 1 or 2 eyeshadow palettes in a box. I try to keep the value of the box a little bit down further, and I feel like since I've started doing that, I'm getting closer. I feel like they're giving me a little bit more money for the value, if that makes sense. That is my biggest tip for sure. Make sure you don't send them too much at a time, because it's like I honestly feel like they're like, no, we're not going to give her more than $100, so give her 92. So that's kind of how I felt like it worked out with that. So highly recommend trying that way. And then also I do recommend, especially with your first box, if you want to just try out their selling program, don't send them anything that you're kind of thinking you might still like. Only send them stuff that you're totally okay with getting rid of, because it can sting a little bit if you send them things that you're like, oh, I kind of like this, but I'm going to send it to them for the money. Because when you see what they're actually paying you, you're like, dang it, I wish I would have just kept that, because it was worth more to me than the amount of money they gave me. So definitely recommend that. Make sure that nothing you're sending them is anything that you're kind of still got an attachment to, because you'll definitely be offended by their offer. If that is the case, if there's something you're like, I kind of still want this, but I'm trying to make money, don't send it to them. Only send it to them if it's something you're already planning to get rid of. Maybe you were planning to give it to friends and family and you decided, well, maybe I'll send it to Glambot instead and get a little bit of money for it. Those are the types of items that you want to sell to them. Those are like my biggest tips. I definitely want to show you guys the footage now, because I'm sure you're anxious to see. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and insert the footage, and then I'll talk you through what I was offered for this particular package. And honestly, the reason I wanted to do this for you guys, again, even though I've already done this video in the past, is I felt like the first box that I sent them was definitely underpaid, and I feel like since then I've been getting a little bit more fair amounts of money for the boxes I'm sending. So I wanted to show you guys that I feel like they've improved a little bit, and I also feel like it was my mistake. Not really my mistake, but I feel like I've learned not to send them so much product in a box, because you won't get your money for that. So let's go ahead and take a look at this footage real quick. I know I've been talking for a while. So I have 5 MAC lipsticks that I'm going to be sending. I rolled them all up so you can see how much is left in each one. Most of these have a lot of product left. These 2 were barely used at all, so they are the tallest, or they have the most product of all. So this one here is called Pure Decoration. This one here, this pink one, is Lovelorn. The coral one here is called Make Me Gorgeous. The lavender one, that one is called Quite Cute. And then the last one here is called Silly. I also have one of the Urban Decay Revolution lipsticks. This one here is called Sheer Slow Burn. That's rolled up all the way. It's pretty much all the way full. Next I have a Kat Von D foiled lipstick. This one is called Adora. So that's what's left on that one. Next I have one of my melted lipsticks from Too Faced. I don't know if they'll be able to accept this or not, because they say no lip gloss, but technically this is like a liquid lipstick, but you can just sanitize this to get it clean. So I'm not sure if they'll accept this or not, because it's one of those kind of questionable ones, but I was just figured I would throw it in there and see if they do take anything for it. This is in the shade Melted Coral. I probably only used this about 4 times, so there's a lot of product in here. Next I have a Lip Bar lipstick. This I got in a BoxyCharm, probably only used it twice. There's a lot of product still on this, and this is in the shade Kiss Me. I am also sending them this Stila lipstick. There is a lot of product. I don't want to roll that all the way up because it's a little bit soft, but this one is in the shade Ella. Okay, these ones I'm not going to roll up for you guys, but I have 4 mini lipsticks. The way that they consider miniatures is 4 deluxe samples equals 1 full size. So this will count as 1 full size product. So I have 2 of the Urban Decay little lipsticks. I have one from Kat Von D and one from Marc Jacobs. I'll be sending all of those off. So that was all the lip products. I'm sending 2 of these Smashbox contour pencils. These were actually my daughter's. I already have a set and she didn't want hers anymore. So I have the highlighting shade and then the warm shade. She's just keeping the contour shade. So these 2 I will be sending off. I'm also sending this Buxom liner. It's just a black liner. Also a mini Marc Jacobs liner. My daughter got this in her birthday gift this year and she didn't want it, so that I'll be sending. I'm also sending a full-size Urban Decay Afterglow blush. As you can see, it's basically brand new. This is in the shade Crush. Another blush that I'm sending, this is a Becca cream lip and Cheek Cream in Rosebud. I barely used this at all. It's basically full as well. Another deluxe size sample. This is another blush. This is from Tarte in the shade Pampered. This came in 2 different kits, so I got it twice basically. I don't need this, so I don't even think I touched that one, but that one's gonna be going. This here is from IT Cosmetics. This is the Hello Light Cream Illuminator. I just didn't like the texture of this. I actually got this from Glambot and I will be sending it back to them. It wasn't my favorite texture. I do have a brush. This is from Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is one of those dual-ended brushes that came with a palette. This came with the Modern Renaissance palette. I pretty much always take these out and throw them away, but if I'm sending something to Glambot, I'll throw these in. I don't really know if they pay very well for these, but otherwise these would end up in the garbage because I never use the brushes that come with palettes, so I will be sending this off. I also have a MAC eyeshadow that's depotted right here. I just stuck it in a little bag, but this is... I don't remember the name of the shade, but it's like a silvery color. Basically hardly used that, so that I'll be sending. I've got a few more miniature sizes here. I have a mini size of the Urban Decay eyeshadow primer potion. I never use this, so that's gonna go. I also have a miniature size of a Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector liquid, and this is in the shade Champagne Gold. It's just really yellow. And then I have a mini Becca Beach Tint cream blush, and this is in the shade Guava. Alright, and then the last thing I'll be sending in this box is this little kit from Laura Mercier. This is called the Flawless Face Book in the shade Nude, and it just has a bunch of face products, some like it's a tinted moisturizer, powders, stuff like that. Okay, so as you guys would have seen, I sent a total of 10 full-size lipsticks, 5 of them being MAC lipsticks. I also sent 4 miniature lipsticks, which counts as like 1 full size. And then I sent 2 of the Smashbox contour pencils, 1 Buxom liner, 1 Urban Decay blush, 1 Becca cream blush. I also sent 1 IT Cosmetics highlighter, an Anastasia brush, a MAC eyeshadow, and the Laura Mercier palette, and then I had 4 more miniatures. I think 1, 2, 3, 4 more miniatures. Yeah, a total of 22 items if you count the 2 sets of 4 miniatures as a full-size item. So it was a total of 22 items. So that is what I sent them. Now I wanted to let you guys know this time around they were much faster about processing my box. I've noticed from the different times that I've sold to them, it does fluctuate a little bit, but it usually takes between 2 to 3 weeks from the time that you send it to the time that you get your offer, which is not too bad because you have to figure there's the shipping time, the time for them to actually receive it, and then they have to sort through the box and then make the offer. So 1 to 2 weeks usually is the window. I don't feel like that's too bad of a time frame. So when you get an offer from Glambot, they give you 2 options. You can either take cash, which they will send you through your PayPal, or you can take 30% more and get Glambucks that you can spend on their website. A lot of times I'll just do the Glambucks and just use it to buy products on their site. This time I decided not to, just because I have so much makeup. I'm like, what am I doing? I don't want to exchange this for other makeup from their site. So this time I took the cash and yeah, that's what I did. So like I said, there's 2 offers. So they offered me $46 in cash, or it was $60 or I think $61 in Glambucks. And as I mentioned, I did take the cash instead of the Glambucks this time. As far as like fairness and stuff, I feel like that was a pretty fair amount for what I sent them. I sent them mostly lipstick. Half of it was lipstick, and then the other half was just random, like a blush here, a highlight there, an eyeshadow here. So overall, I feel like if I was to have done a blog sale, I might have gotten a little bit more, but I would have had shipping costs, and there's no shipping costs with Glambot. They pay for all the shipping. And then I also would have had the time and the effort, where there's a little time and effort with sending to Glambot, but it's pretty minimal. It's just packing the stuff in the box and sending it off. So overall, I feel like what they paid me was pretty close to what I would have gotten after shipping costs and everything like that. I feel like if I would have tried to sell this all on a blog sale, I might have made $60, maybe $65. So not that bad in my opinion, that I don't have to deal with doing all of that stuff. Now, the nice thing too that I've noticed recently in the last couple times I've sent them boxes, they're starting to put a little bit more comments on the sell offer. They still don't break it down. They still don't say, we took all these items except like the buxom eyeliner. We didn't take that. They don't do that still, but at least they give you a little bit of feedback. Before, there was nothing on there whatsoever. This time they left me notes. They said, thank you for following our updated packing instructions. Here's a couple extra tips. Use the appropriate size box with no jiggle room. So I think my box might have been just a little bigger than it needed to be, so they were letting me know that. And then they also said there was one item that they did not accept. They don't tell me which one, but they do say that it was an item that had a used submerged applicator. So I'm thinking it was either the melted lipstick from Too Faced, or it was, I really feel like it was actually the Becca liquid highlighter, because I forgot that's basically liquid, and it has like, it's not a lip gloss, but it does have an applicator like a lip gloss, so that might be the one they did not accept. Either way, there was only one item they didn't take, and all of the rest of it that I showed you guys, they did buy. So that was my experience this time around with Glambot. Again, I really just wanted to share it with you guys because I felt like my first experience that I showed you guys was a pretty, not really bad, but not a great experience. And I feel like since then it's improved. So I wanted to let you guys know about that. And if you have any questions or comments for me, you can always leave those down below. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this updated Glambot selling experience video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. It does mean so very much to me. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, you guys.